Hey folks, it's Yannick from Tutorials.eu, and in this video we're going to talk about in-memory caching in ASP.NET Core. And yeah, let's just get right into it. Here we got a huge product list. I got 2000 products right here, right? And guess what? ChatGPT created them for me, right? So I just told them, right, create an SQL query with some random product data, and I executed it, and now we're done with that. So here we got a huge product list, and well, guess what? It takes some time to load them from the database, right? And since we're good developers, we always want to provide our users the very best experience. So caching is a great way to save loaded data in the application's memory on the server side in that scenario right here. And when another user requests the same data, it will get loaded super fast because it's cached in the memory of the server. So right now everything is cached already. We will just dig deeper into how it works exactly just in a second. But if I now clear the cache and the page automatically reloads, for sure the data will get fetched from the database. So let's take a look at our application right now. I got some pretty nice logs right here. You can see that after I clicked on clear cache, here we got it right on screen, it got loaded from the database again, and it took in total 189 milliseconds. Now right now everything is cached again. So when I simply reload the page and now go back to our logs, you can see that it only took 13 milliseconds, right? And it differs. Sometimes it's 2 milliseconds. Right now I got a screen recording program and all of that running, and sometimes it's 10 milliseconds, but it's definitely way faster. It's so much faster. Well, just think of it like 10 times, 50 times, or even 200 times faster. Well, loading from cache is definitely something that you don't want to miss. So let's find out how you can add it to your ASP.NET Core application, and I can promise you it's way easier than you think. But first of all, make sure to subscribe to our channel so that you no longer miss any upcoming .NET related videos, because we are here to help you become a better developer, and for sure you are interested in that. Also smash the video's like button if you love ASP.NET. And if you take your C# career serious, check out our C# Progress Academy. It's a self-paced online course turning you into a full-stack C# web developer with Angular, ASP.NET Core, and I can promise it's the fastest way on how you can progress as a C# developer. You can find the link in the description below or popping up right now at the top right corner. Now let me just shut down the application. We will get to that just in a second again. Now let's get started. I will close everything here. Now let's talk about caching. So first of all, the good news is, as long as you use kind of MVC or any of the other templates on ASP.NET Core that gets provided, you can just use the iMemory cache. It automatically gets injected via the dependency injection. Now, if you have no clue about the dependency injection, check out our video on that topic, since it's really important. If you are a .NET developer, you have to understand how services get injected into your applications. Great. Now, afterwards, what we have right here is a simple, very simple MVC application. We have an application DB context, right? So nothing special. Inside here we got the products table, and the product consists of ID, name, and price, but that doesn't really matter. It could be really anything. Great, so let me just close that again. I just want to show you the code here. Now, what we have right here is an iMemory cache. So that's quite important. You need that, and as I said, you don't have to install any additional package. It gets automatically provided. Now, as the name already indicates, it is saving the cached items to the application's memory on the server side, not on the user side. We are not talking about any kind of user cookie. No, we are saving the products inside of the server memory cache, so that, let's say, user A is requesting the products. Now it gets saved on the server. Now user B wants to get them too, and the cache data just gets transferred to the user, right? So just keep that in mind. The cache data is lying on the server, not on the client side. Now, here we got a cache key. Well, that's just kind of like a dictionary key, right? So you have any specific key for any specific value. We could have a user cache key, products cache key, whatever. Invoices cache key. Maybe not the best idea, but it would work. So you have a key. That key is connected to cache data. Well, maybe. Now here we got our constructor, and that constructor is just taking that iMemory cache from the dependency injection so that we got an instance from it. Awesome. And now let the magic happen, right? Here we got our index page, which is just, as I said, it's an MVC application. It just shows our index page, that huge list of products. So what I do right here is just creating a stopwatch so that we can measure the, well, actual time that's passing from starting the request to finishing it, right? Now, here is where the real magic is happening, right? We are using our cache object. We are trying to get a value. You know that try get value, right? It's a method that you use when you work with dictionaries. Now we submit the key here. So we say, hey, try to get a value from the cache using the cache key, which is, as I said here, the product's cache key. It's just an identifier. And then we maybe get out our products as an enumerable. Now, if we do, as I said, we put them out so they are available in the scope of the index method if we have them in the key, because we're using, if we have them in the cache, because we can use the out here. Now we also log something, products found in cache, right? Awesome. And if we don't have them in the cache, we can see products not found in cache. So we simply take our database context, we take all of our products and we put them in a list. Make sure, and this is very crucial, to not store the query in the cache, because in that case you will get an exception, because it says like, okay, your instance of your database context is not, well, working anymore, right? Dependency injection is working differently. So you have to make sure that you don't store the query. You have to store, well, a collection. So the list, the array, or whatever. That's why we say to list. Now, if you have no clue about the difference between an iQueryable and an IEnumerable, check out our video on that topic, since that's also very important for all ASP.NET Core developers. Well, let me say that we really offer so much value for any .NET developer out there. So again, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, do it right now. I'm absolutely sure that you will take amazing value from it. Now, next up, we will dig deeper into the cache options. So we just created memory cache entry options, that's fine. And now we got three things here to set up. We got the set sliding expiration, we set it to 45 seconds. We've got the absolute expiration, we set it to 10 minutes. And we got the priority and we set it to normal. Now let's dig deeper into that. So what is the sliding expiration? Well, let's assume that for sure data changes in a database, right? Now, if we have an application that gets used by a lot of users, you don't want to store the data for too long because, well, at any given time, you want to update the data, right? So we've added new products and you for sure want to see those new products. So this is why we say like, okay, let's just save it 45 seconds. Something like that is really the industry standard, something around 60 seconds, right? And after 45 seconds, if no one in the meantime has requested the cache, it will get cleared. So that means that this is sliding. If after 30 seconds another user requests the cache, it will get set back to 0. Okay, that's the sliding expiration. Now for the absolute expiration, it doesn't really care about the sliding expiration. So anyway, after 10 minutes, the cache will get cleared so that new created products will appear. Very important, okay? So the absolute expiration is entirely independent from the sliding expiration. So after 10 minutes, it will get deleted anyway. Now the priority is, let's just take a look here. That's easier to explain. We have low priority, normal and high, and never remove. So if we select never remove right here, the cache will never get removed, right? So we simply set the priority to cache item priority normal. Now afterwards, you can see, since we are here where products are not found, we are grabbing the products, we're configuring the cache, we simply set the elements, we save it into the memory cache. So we use the key again, we store the products, we submit our configured options. Now here I stopped the watch, right? So again, here I started it, here I stopped it so that we can really see the delta time. Awesome, and then we just log the information, return the view and see our data. Also, I created an action result, so a method that simply removes something from the cache. You simply take that cache object, call the remove method and submit the cache key so that you are able to for sure clear your cache. That's also something that you want to do. What you can do is if you add something new or delete something, like you add a new product or you delete a product, maybe you are interested in just immediately clearing the cache so that it's always fresh. Keep that in mind. So this is basically what's going on here. Now, I want to point out, and that's very important, right? There is a possibility on running into a race condition, which basically means that if we have two users which are using the cache at the same time, chances are that they populate it and we run into that and we have a race condition. So what you'd have to do in that scenario is you have to create a lock to make sure that it's kind of thread safe, right? So if you're interested in seeing that, please write it down into the comment section below. I'd be happy to make another video on that topic. Now let's start our application one more time. Let's just take a look at the debug log here. So it's starting, and for sure a lot of time flies by, right? We can see everything here now. It's loading the stuff, the page gets loaded, it says products not found in cache, loading them right now, blah blah blah. All of that takes really a lot of time. And on the other screen I can see that it's now showing up. Here you can see like 10,000 milliseconds, but that's not the true value it took to only load the products, right? So here we got our page. Now let me just clear the cache. So I will simply click on clear cache. So you can now see that the products got removed, cleared cache, and it took 99 milliseconds to load them from the database and put them into the cache. Now if I simply reload the page again, stuff will now get loaded from the cache because 45 seconds, our sliding expiration time has not passed yet, so I'm loading it from the cache, and other users would do that too. You can see 23 milliseconds, which is a nice saving. Let's just try that again. How much time do we have now? 2 milliseconds, which is definitely awesome, 50 times faster, right? If I just reload it again, 31 milliseconds. Anyway, it really depends on the, well, as I said, right now my computer is working quite hard because of all of my screen recording programs and all of that. But you can definitely see that it's so much faster, right? 5 milliseconds compared to 100 milliseconds or even more is definitely a nice improvement. Well, and now our products are quite simple, ID, name and price, but there might be more complex objects, right? Let's say you got some dependencies and foreign keys and all of that. In that way, it would take longer to load them from the database, and caching becomes even more important. So this is the basic introduction into memory caching in ASP.NET Core. I hope you liked that video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and check out our C# Progress Academy. As I said, you can find the link in the description below or in the very first comment. And I'd be super happy to see you back in the next video. Thanks for watching.